1994, you were thick and fast into the commentating by this time. And obviously, the biggest news of 94 is that Hulk Hogan comes in. What were the big changes that happened? Not just in the ring with Hulk Hogan being there and him bringing his friends over and everything, but what were the big changes backstage as well? Because I know there was co-branding with Disney MGM, catering, all that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was doing the broadcasting, and I wasn't really involved in much, but I remember when Eric, was saying, "Hey, we got the Hulk. We're bringing the Hulk in." So Eric was very excited about the Hulk coming in. And I think the Hulk was excited too, because again, like everybody else, I mean, the Hulk was the right guy at the right time for his era, the early, mid 80s and on, which became the era of the characters. There wasn't a Bruno Sammartino or a Lou Thez or a Larry Zbyszko or a Vern Gagne. It was the Hulk, the Macho Man, the Hot Rod, the Big This, the Superfly. Everybody was a character instead of like a person. And Hulk, he got over, and for a big guy, he could move good, and he was smart, knew how to talk and get over with the crowd. And even by 94, you got a guy that's been around, and used and wrestled a bunch of guys. And so for him to keep himself fresh, for him to come from the WWE to the WCW was good for him too. And they had parades for him in Disney, and Eric was very excited about bringing them in. And he did good, but you could tell that, and that's why he joined the New World Order instead of fighting the New World Order, was because he wasn't getting over like he used to be. And he was over, people loved the Hulk, but he wasn't what he used to be, 12, 13 years ago, which nobody is. I mean, Bruno staying hot for 18 years was like incredibly unheard of. But, to stay on top for 10, 15 years, 20 years is rare. Steve Austin, did it, and some other guys did it, and then Hulk did it too. But that's why he switched to the NWO, because, and that really gave him a lot more heat too. And, so he was smart enough to know how to do things and keep himself hot.
What do you think he was missing?
Well, it wasn't that he was missing anything. It's just the programming. I mean, you might have your favorite show. Let's say you watch Seinfeld. And you watch it for 10 years and you've seen every episode 50 times and you go, God, I love this show. This is great. Isn't there another show on now? I mean, because you love it and they love the Hulk, but it's like, okay, anybody new? Because you can only watch the same movie so many times, even though you love it. You want to see another movie after a while, So it had nothing to do with the Hulk. It just had to do with time. The hands of time kind of erase everybody's, thing.
For me, I remember because I'm 34 now, so I started watching wrestling around 93 and saw bits and bobs of WCW, and I just remember thinking how thin Hulk Hogan looked when he came to WCW in 94. I mean, was that any... I mean, comparatively, he was still huge, of course, but he must have dropped like 60 pounds from his like 80s heyday, and I always remember that making it look like he was a step behind.
Yes, I mean, he may have, but again, he was getting older, and he's been in the ring for 12, 13 years. And really, he's probably lost a lot of weight because he couldn't work out like he used to work out with the heavy stuff, because he was hurt. I mean, the Hulk, God, now the poor guy can hardly walk. He's had 8 back surgeries in 1 year. I mean, probably a lot more than that now. Artificial knees, artificial hips. He was on Raw the other day, took one step and almost fell over. You could see him, dip on. So he was losing weight, and he was also getting older and coming along with, again, being seen a lot for years. Your body takes a beating. So some of these guys, plus you can't do what you used to do. Ric Flair used to run across the ring and flip upside down in the corner and wind up sitting on the top like Ray Stevens did. But then there came a time when Rick broke his nose, but he was in his 50s still wrestling and couldn't do that stuff anymore. So time not only programs you out after a while, but it also your body can't do it,
And this is going to be a very, very specific question because I remember seeing an interview with Greg Gagne a few years ago, and he claimed during the dying days of the AWA in 1990, 1991, he claimed that him and Vern had a deal with Hulk Hogan to come back for $4 million a year to restart the AWA. Do you remember hearing anything about that at the time, or not?
1991.
Yeah, around 90. Well, the AWA closed in 90. Apparently, they may have even tried to relaunch the AWA around 91, and supposedly all but signed got Hulk to agree for $4 million to come over. Did you hear anything about that?
I mean, I was there, and I was there because I married Vern's daughter. So, I mean, I would have known, and to be honest with you, they might have had the idea, but no one, I never remember hearing that. And I don't know, it could be Greg just saying stuff, but I really don't remember hearing anything about that. Plus, again, in those days, Hulk was already under contract somewhere else. So you could offer him $10 million, but you're under contract, so you can't leave.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Enough is enough! Moody poo candy ass! Had him writhing in pain with my sharpshooter. Rocky! Rocky! I am not a nugget! Stick him straight up your candy ass! I kicked your leg out of your leg. The Rock has come back!